So emotional eating is something that women struggle with privately, but the same types of questions come up time and time again. So today I want to answer some of the most common ones. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Michelle. I'm a certified holistic nutritionist specializing in emotional eating. So let's dive in. So the first common question I get is, why do I keep emotionally eating even though I know better? I know the right diets, I know how to eat. The thing is that emotional eating is a coping mechanism. It's something you developed in childhood to help you survive, to help you cope with your emotions. Food became this band-aid, this substitute that you used to regulate yourself, to calm yourself, to not feel these emotions because you didn't have parents or caregivers that can model that for you and be a safe space to help you process and move through. And so you had to figure out a way to feel okay with discomfort or to make it go away. And food is readily available, and over time it becomes the crutch you lean on. And so you might know better, you might know your pattern, or might know the best ways to eat, but you can't seem to shift your behavior because we haven't gotten to the root of it to really meet your true needs and not let food be the band-aid. Another common question is, why does emotional eating feel so out of control sometimes? So women will say, I used to emotionally eat and then it stopped for a while and then now it's starting again, and they don't connect it to their stress levels or big events in their lives. They think, I'm going to control my life. Maybe it's calmer and it doesn't come up. If emotional eating comes up when you are going through transitions in life or uncomfortable things, it means you never really healed the root, because emotional eating is your coping mechanism for discomfort, distress, uncomfortable emotions. And if you haven't really shifted that pattern at the root to really meet your true emotional needs, you will keep going back to food. You might experience a period of calm where you can dismiss some emotions, things aren't as heavy, but it's when you get into those really deep emotions or you're triggered into survival patterns, you'll go back to emotional eating because nothing seems to make it go away. And that's when we have to do the deeper work. Another question, is emotional eating always connected to trauma? So this is an interesting question because when I'm working with clients, we're working with emotional eating on different levels. They all tie into emotions. And the biggest theme is that as emotional eaters, we don't know how to move through, be with our emotions and process them. But when I'm working with clients, we might think we're emotionally eating when we have skipped meals. So we start binging, or we're eating certain types of food that physiologically make us want to eat more and more. Like if you have a cupcake, it's not going to satisfy your hunger. You're going to want, it's created to make you eat more and more. And so we have to really look at, how do you nourish yourself, truly nourish yourself, and not fall into binging and, overeating when it's not truly emotional. But I do think that when, let's say, you skip a meal because you put everyone before you, or you're trying to really control your food through a diet mentality, you add in a layer of shame and not good enough, or people pleasing, and those patterns link back to earlier traumas or earlier ways you learned to be so that you felt safe. So maybe if you put everyone before you, and you were like really nice, then you would feel safe. And so it comes and sort of bites you in the butt because now you're not putting yourself first. And so there's a deeper pattern there of maybe people pleasing and not meeting your needs. But usually we work with those surface levels of nourishing your body, really accepting your body, shifting, what we think we should be into healthier ways of being, and that eliminates some of the triggers to emotional eating. And the deeper levels, what I found with clients, it's tied to trauma. And trauma really just means that we experienced a situation, emotions were evoked in us, and we didn't know how to move through those emotions to get back to a regulated or calm nervous system. We couldn't process it. It's kind of like this open loop in our mind, and we're like, I don't know how to feel okay about this situation. And so that really goes back to not being taught how to be with emotions, move through them, to regulate ourselves. It goes back to childhood and earlier times. And this is the pattern I see time and time again with clients. Another question that comes up is, why hasn't therapy fixed this? So I've worked with a lot of women who've gone to therapy. They don't want to open that Pandora's box again. They kind of know their patterns. They know what happened. And they're like, I've talked to women who've gone to food therapy, and, they're just in therapy for like 10 years. They're just in therapy for a really long time. And there's nothing wrong with therapy. There's nothing wrong with having awareness of your patterns. It doesn't fix your emotional eating. And I'll share a little bit about my story. When I started going to therapy, I had this behavior with food and my body. I was very critical. I was talking about my whole life, and this was one of those areas that I focused on in therapy, because I remember my therapist handing me, a diet plan and giving me little tips on how to be with food, but it didn't resolve my emotional eating. I was still seeking out other practitioners, like a nutritionist. I went to a chiropractor. I was like trying all these things to help me feel okay, so I wasn't, having this out of control behavior with food, or to help me feel okay in my body. And when I look back at what happened in therapy, first of all, I wasn't aware of my emotional eating pattern. No one ever told me I was an emotional eater. And they didn't actually understand, knowing that what I know now, the connection with my coping mechanism, and really healing it at the core root level of what that behavior was actually trying to do. I was in cognitive behavioral therapy. You switch out one behavior for another. That is on the surface, because if you think about emotional eating as an iceberg, on the surface, it's our behavior with food. It's not really about the food. The food is like a placeholder to give us, a sense of calm or safety, or to create that in our nervous system, something we didn't have. It's kind of buffering the discomfort of the emotion. And because, talk therapy doesn't have that, and I haven't seen anyone really connect it back to this root, go back into the body, into the earliest memory. I just sort of was intuitively doing this, and then went back and did a 2-year program in somatic psychotherapy. And I just am very curious about this topic, obviously, and through my own journey started putting those pieces together. And talk therapy is not sufficient. Especially if you have been in talk therapy and you're still looking for solutions to your emotional eating, it's not getting to that deeper layer. It might give you lots of awareness about your life, and that's really great, but it's still at a conscious level. It's still in your mind. It's not pulling you into the body where the pattern lives. And this is why I see it doesn't work. Therapy is also not holistic, in the sense that the therapist is not a trained nutritionist. They are sort of giving you the mindset shift, but they may not have a background in somatics. They don't have the actual tools to look at your relationship to food, and that you might just have a diet mentality and you're depriving yourself, so you're binging. There are these layers to emotional eating that aren't covered. And that's why it's good to see someone that specializes in this pattern, that can give you the holistic view and all of the different layers of it. Another question I get when I'm talking to potential clients usually is it possible to feel at ease and peace around food and in my body? And, absolutely yes. I'll speak from the clients that I've worked with, but my own experience. It's been over 10 years since I've emotionally eaten. I don't feel like panicky around food or scared of food. If I have a day where I eat something I didn't want to, or I'm in an unusual situation, I know what to do. There's no shame or guilt. And I see this with clients as well, because when you heal the root of your emotional eating, it's no longer about the food. Yes, there's an essence about the food, but it's not always about the food. When you heal that deeper layer, you're not going to be, having these urges to eat, or this constant food noise, or I need food to fix how I'm feeling. It's going to be like, there's an exhale in your body, and you feel sovereign around food. You can choose that food. And when I'm working with clients, I'm also teaching them how to truly nourish their body, so they feel confident in what they're eating. They're noticing their body's natural cues for food, for hunger. versus emotional hunger. And they're two very different things. So it is very possible to feel at ease and peace around food, but you need the right steps and process. And I just say that because I tried so many things myself in the past that didn't work. You need a really holistic view of the pattern. So those are some of the top questions that I get from clients and potential clients about emotional eating. Let me know which one of these questions resonated the most with you, or if there was one of the questions that you want me to dive deeper into, and I'm happy to share. Emotional eating really is a multi-layered pattern, and it requires certain steps. And if you'd like to get started on resolving your emotional eating, I'd love to invite you to download my free guide called What Are You Truly Hungry For? In this guide, it's going to help you discern true from emotional hunger and to start catching your triggers. It's going to give you more awareness of your pattern so that you can go deeper. So I'll put the link for that below. And if you are looking for more support around your emotional eating, you want that deeper dive, I'd love to invite you to find out more about the Emotional Eating Evolution Program. This is my 12-week container with the step-by-step process to get you to ease and peace and confidence around food and in your body. There is also one-to-one sessions with me, weekly office hours, and support and guidance to help you get through this pattern and give you the steps that you need. So if you'd like to find out more about the program, you can find out more below. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Please be sure to like and subscribe, and I look forward to sharing more with you, and I hope you have a great day.